Winner!
Oh, I got there first.
Fuck you!
I can't do it that quick. I can't go that quick. That's what she said.
Evening, everybody. Welcome again to another Ideal Home Show, taking you through your Thursday evening from 9 o'clock and being your friends who vape. No.
Oh, God.
That grin, that's nasty.
Oh,
I'm going to try. I'm going to see if I can come up with something really cheesy to say to everyone. But hey, love you. So thanks everybody again for joining us. So just a couple of the house rules as per usual. If you see us anywhere that isn't on the home page or on YouTube, then let us know, because we're not meant to be there, we're meant to be here. But otherwise we're going to be doing our normal bits and pieces tonight. We've got some exciting things. It is a jam-packed show, so
I want to say, just to add a caveat to that rule, when you said if you see us anywhere but on YouTube, not like in the street. Just go, what are you doing? You should be on YouTube. That doesn't work. We're allowed to do that.
wandering around late at night.
Especially if your name's Craig.
Sorry if I'm distracted, by the way. I'd just like to say I'm sorry if I'm distracted, by the way. I'm just having a Cumberland sausage and a big Yorkshire pudding.
That's living.
Professional as they come. So anyway, so we're going to get on to we've got a whole bunch of stuff to go through this week, so odds are we may go overtime as per usual, and as I think you lot have come to expect right now. So let's kick things off. John, how's your week been? What are you vaping on? And let's talk about how your ears have got lower.
I know. Do you know what? That's what I just kept saying in the chat. I just thought, so you want to talk about the elephant in the room? John's on a haircut! Yes. I like to get value for money, so it sort of goes from Ace Ventura to just released from prison. That's the.
Do you do a Robbie Williams tribute act at the weekend?
That's low. That's low. Wow. Don't take John. Don't take that. Don't take that.
It's okay. It's all right. I can handle it. What am I vaping on? What am I vaping on? I have got the RX 200 Rouleau today because I had to give the DNA back to the very generous person who lended it to me, with the thing on top. What the fuck is that called? To one of them.
Atomizer?
Yeah, an atomizer on top with with a baboose by derailment. I'll find some words in a minute. Velocity. There you go. Fuck me. Came to me.
Velocity. Blimey.
Hey!
I have got the Serpent Tank on my CC mod.
CCTA mod.
CCTA mod. See, that sound. You made it sound rude. You know, I'd rather just going to show the label. It's come off in my pocket because I know what it is. Though. It's Dunford's Narwhal, which I've been vaping on that. It's not actually set very high. Not one of you cloud blowers, so I've got it set it's like 25 watts, I think. 1.8 coil. That's it. Really, it's just how I roll. What else have I got? Oh, look at that! I've gone mad this week. I've got a vapor giant.
What you got in that?
Oh, a flask. I don't know if you've heard of it. It's called Raspberry Mint.
Oh,
DB
really?
Liquids.
Very nice.
It's a
that's
bit
meant to
out
be
there.
alright, that.
I'm a crazy guy. I'm just going to do that. Just throw a curveball. I don't give a shit.
Pushing that boat out. Pushing that boat out.
And the next thing is, I don't know what to call this, because, okay, let's call it a VF flask, but the Wismec VF flask, but I put a sticker on it.
Oh, the classic.
I put a sticker on it. Well, I'd call the other one the classic. I mean, I'm personally one for brushed stainless steel, but I got the black one. Well, because the very good friend who lent me the DNA 200 Rouleau did a swap out for this, and on top of that is the clit tank. I found it again, people. Don't worry, it wasn't a fluke. I found it again.
I wasn't sure it existed, to be honest.
Still not certain. There's been unconfirmed sightings. What have I got in there? Oh, I know what I've got. it's one of those juices what you always vaping. What's the one that fuck me today?
Dark Star.
Lime cheesecake.
Valhalla.
Valhalla. In that, on that. Yeah, that's what I've got. Next up, Rick.
No, Craig.
No, I do what I fucking want.
I'll go on then. Right.
Yeah, go on then, Rick. Yeah,
What am I vaping on? Okay, I am on my CCTA mod. Lovely. With a velocity, and in that same Foos Gold. I seem to be always vaping Foos Gold on the velocity now. It just works. It's nice. It's nice. I've got a new ATI. I've got an Omega by ADV Ken.
Advoken.
Advoken, yeah, is that how you say it? Advoken.
Advoken.
Yeah, it's good. I like it. You know, it's like a goblin, but it looks a bit nicer. So you see that? It looks quite pretty.
It's all right now.
Yeah, and in that I've got a little mix that I made, which is a lemon hazelnut biscuit, and it's very nice.
Ooh. How does it vape anyway? How does that Omega vape anyway? Is it any good?
It's good for about. I've got mine at 33 watts.
Yeah.
So it's pretty much the same as the Goblin. I mean, apart from it's built nicer, and it doesn't have the air going underneath, so there's no condensation.
Yeah.
Still bottom fill, but that's not the end of the world. Well, that is a bit. And we're quite used to the Cryos.
It's nearly the end of the world.
It's nearly the end of the world because I just like the way the Cryos fill it up so often. I like the way I can just pull the top up and fill it up. But it's good. No, I like it. It's got a nice funky brass style sort of drip tip on it.
Cool.
It's all right. Pretty good.
Yeah.
Cheap as well. Yeah, and Abolishment, Noisy Cricket, Indestructible, and got something very nice this week, and that is this little beauty.
Yeah.
Oh.
Hang on, let me present you to people. There we go.
Look at that.
That is pretty.
Oh.
It's great, and this guy Tim Davis, he got in touch after we did our little Plumes of Hazard, because that's obviously a Plumes of Hazard rip-off graphic. We're not bringing out Juice Line or merch with that stuff on. But he showed me something he did, and I was like, "Wow, that's amazing!" And he was like, "Look, I'll send you one." So, and he did. He polished it, sent that, and I love it. It's going to be on this mod all the time.
Fuck me! I forgot my cup of tea.
And this mod is SX350J, and I'm pleased to say I've got the SXI software set up now. So I'm now using all that fancy software with waves and stuff.
Oh.
And liking it. You know, I thought it was a bit geeky, bit of a gimmick to start with. It is a bit geeky. But
Right. So just quickly then, 2 questions, right? Can you program the whole vape all the way through the 10-second thing to go up and down with wattage?
yes, you can. Yes.
Right. And the second thing is, does it allow you to do that with cancel as well?
Yes.
So you can actually change the wattage on cancel as you vape it.
That's what I'm doing with it now. Yeah.
Winner.
And that is why, and I'll tell you why it's a winner for somebody with your extraordinary taste in juice. For people that can pick up different notes, different flavours in juices at different wattages, you can wave this thing like that, and you'll hit all those points, and you can hear it and feel it vaping and doing that wave. It's really it's brilliant. It's lovely.
Nice.
And you just edit it on the screen very easily. Press this downloady button, and it's done instantly, and your mod's set up on it. So you don't even have to go through the menu on the mod at all. You can be plugged in and change it, press the button, and it's there instantly for you to vape like it. And I mean, for me, you can replace that powerful and eco settings. They can get rid of those. They're still on there, but they could get rid of them because I've just set mine up, and obviously depending on the thickness of coil, the thickness of wire, you can crack the ramp in. You can make it ramp up quicker, so come in at higher wattage and then go down. And I've just got a wave going on around 40 watts and up and below, and it's nice.
Oh.
Yeah, very happy with that. It's brilliant. So
I should have sort of said I'm not drinking tea because I'm not Craig, but I didn't put the beer in it. But I just wanted to say, thank you very much.
yes, I was just about to say about that as well.
I was going to give that to you, Rick, but I was going to just say thank you.
Yeah, you can say it, Mike Dacus. Top
Thank
man.
you very much, Mike.
Not only for that, but also
and the t-shirts as well. They're awesome.
We have t-shirts. No, fuck off. They're nice. They're brilliant.
They're really, really cool. And it was a really nice surprise to get them in the post. I got mine today. So I had to go in the office tomorrow. It's going to be weird drinking the mug. Well, I'll point it towards Dean.
Because I look like an Avenger.
So if you're right-handed, you get to put John in near your lips, don't you?
Yeah, you do. And you can see my lovely bum chin on the mug as well.
But no, that's really Mike, top man, very generous of you. We love them. I'll be drinking beer from it tonight.
Right, Dean, do you want to go next? Because I'm going to go and finish my cuppa.
Oh, yeah, can do. Yeah, as well as the other guys, just a quick thank you to Mike for the t-shirt. Unfortunately, the t-shirt for me, Rick kind of understated how manly I was, and so the sizing, I was going to wear it just for the comedy value because I knew an XL was going to be a tad on the snug side, but. When I eventually got it on, we had to call the neighbours on to help me get it on, and I had like 5 people pulling at it, and my head started to go like a.
He had a lovely set though.
That
was the other reason we had to stop. We were getting excited.
Did you look like that David from the Valley?
Babe station with a beard.
I like the look of myself in the mirror so much. I tried to give myself a soapy tit wank, but couldn't manage. But thank you very much, Mike. They're all awesome, so that's much appreciated. Now then, what am I vaping on? As usual, I've got a fuck ton of stuff, but I will try and get through it as quick as possible, just because there's so much to worry about. Okay, are we comfortable? I am going to go for the first one is the Vape Forward Light with the avocado on it. My review I did last night, and that went up today. I had a strange thing with the avocado. I don't know how you're getting on with yours, Craig, but I had a strange thing with it. When I put it back together after giving it another clean, just hard shorted straight out. It went, oh, fuck you. Just no, when I put it on the ohm meter, obviously, it wouldn't read. Nothing. So nothing happened. Took it apart, put it together, same thing. Took it apart, just didn't really do anything different. Put it back together again, and it worked.
What the fuck?
It's weird. I cannot understand why it does it, but it did it, and it's working fine now. And in there, I am using this one. My win on the Plumes raffle was the Lane Cove range, so I've got some Samantha. I'm sucking on Samantha in that one, which is rather splendid. I have got
that just paints such a brilliant mental image, that does.
I have also got the classic dun 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 from Vape Forward, which is also splendid. And on top of there, I have got the dot mod. Now the dot mod for me, I was a bit kind of late on the train on this one, late to the party, late with my period. Everything was just a bit late. However, someone, a very nice couple by the name of Dan and Rach Burt, big shout out to those guys, especially Rach. I think Rach is the driving force. I think Dan basically does what he's told, and so big thank you to Rach for allowing this to be sold to me, and I love it a lot. So I'm a little bit late to the dot mod. This is V1, I believe, but I'm really enjoying that. In there, I have got something new that I accosted my postman for because I missed him earlier on in the day, which is Jost.
Oh, I've heard tales of it on SV.
Absolutely, and I tell you what, it's craggy juice. Craggy juice, yeah. It's supposed to be jam on toast. Now, how the fuck do you replicate jam on toast in an e-liquid? Turns out you can do a pretty fucking close job, which is weird. It's weird.
I've heard this. Are you sticking with the sort of the general word on the street? I'm, Wells Street, me. I've heard it's very nice to sort of vape in the morning, but not on all day. That's what.
Well, I only managed to get it sort of this afternoon, and I stuck it in about 5:30, 6 o'clock. So I haven't been able to vape on it very much this evening. But a lot of the time you're vaping on it, going, this is weird. I don't understand. My brain can't cope with the fact that I'm having jam in my vapor and toast in my vapor. And it does your head in. So I'll report back, and we'll see how much of this is left.
I think I'll be ordering some.
But on top of that, I've also got the milkshake man, which I imagine is very much like the other milkshake thingy, and a monkey crunch. So we're giving those a little blast.
Where did it come from? Sorry, where did the Jost come from?
Craggy Juice.
And that is the website's Craggy Juice, is it?
Yes.
I'm literally using you as Google now. I'm like, should I lean forward or just say, Dean, what is it? I mean, I know we're live and it's quite unprofessional, but that's what I'm going to do.
I'm pretty sure it is, or is it just on Facebook? No, Craggy Juice. Craggy Juice, CRAGGY.
I've got it. Cosmo's just chucked it in chat as well.
There we go.
Steal it.
So that's what it is. So yeah, interesting times. I'm enjoying that. But it is weird. So I'm going to probably have more of a plan of what's going on at the end of the show. On top of that, I've got my clitoris on the stout from Vape Forward. Dun, dun. Which is very good.
Your clitoris in stout, on stout, near stout. I just.
It's the future.
Stout and clits.
In there, I've got Grumpy Custard. And obviously, I've got the Ideal Ohm Show CCTA jobby with the Nobunaga normal size, all just full mashings open, 0.3 on the coil, running at about 56 watts at the moment. And in there, I've got. No, I haven't got that at all. I've got Wick Liquor. I've got some Wick Liquor again, some Deja Voodoo.
I need to get some more of that. I miss it.
Yeah, so I've got all of those. So all of my show juices, I'm holding back on my stash purely because my stash is running very, very low, and I've got a bunch of RDAs and things to test soon, and I tend to use the stash just because of how used to it I am. On top of that, I have got alcohol, but I've got an unusual mix. The cupboards were almost bare today, so I've got Clara, which is a Desperado tequila kind of lager, cheapy fucking thing, which from what I remember tastes a little bit like piss. And I've got some Woodgate mixed berry flavoured cider, just for the full, manliness. It was either that or a bottle of wine or a bottle of vodka, and work tomorrow would suck either way.
It sort of sounds like your options were the reduced bin in Tesco's as you walked out.
It was all that. We don't really have that much bit, and the stuff that I have a sort of a fair bit of wine and stuff in the house because I like that, but. Drinking a bottle of wine on a school night.
That was the kind of my problem. I have to go out shopping intentionally just for the show now, like an alcoholic going. I just need to drink to talk to some folks on the internet, and not buy a bottle of wine. Because if I open a bottle of wine as well, I'd have to keep nipping out so that as like a splits with the wife. That's the law. If you open a bottle of wine and you're married, you're not allowed to have it. You have to share.
But my last thing, which I do have to tell you about, we talked about this in the show. We've talked about both of these items in the show, actually. The first one being the Magma.
You made that sound like Team America with Matt Damon.
Is that a disappointed way of saying magma? Or?
It's a Magma. Anyway, I'm not going to go into that for a second because it's even bigger news for what the Magma is on, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. Drum roll, please. The Cloud Maker Whiteout.
It's the greenhouse.
Wow. That's only taken 11 months to get.
Only 7, I think.
Wow.
Yes. So there we go. I haven't followed their instructional video yet and used a paint pen to colour in my USB to make the USB thing black. But yeah. So that's that.
Did you get it in green so you can use it as a pool table if it's on its side?
It's not small, to be honest. It's not small.
It's not the Sigelli 100 watt.
No, it's bigger than the 100 watt. There we go.
Oh my god.
Sigelli 100 watt here.
Oh god.
And there's the...
and there's only a 1,000 mAh battery in it, isn't there?
1100, yeah.
1100.
Winner.
With about an inch of space at the bottom of it underneath the battery, Hang on. Hey, twat. I got the door off. I dropped it the other day and it's bent it a little bit, so I can get the door off a little bit easier. But to show you the space under here to be playing with, cha-ching!
There's a 1500 mAh pack you could have got in there.
Yeah. You can see that there is a little bit of a snugness on top of the recharger plug that goes onto the board, which looks as though they've had a few issues with that, or a few people have had a few issues with those. No. But we'll worry about that later. So yeah, so there's all that there, and then we're going to just push the 510 right up and lean it on the battery as much as possible, so we don't actually have a springy 510. So that's the future. But it's a DNA 200 and it's working as a DNA 200 should do, and hasn't broken on me or done anything daft. I've actually had a really good email, and I'm having a sort of an interesting chat with Jeremy from Cloudmaker about bits and bobs at the moment as well, because I wanted to get a real kind of feeling for how they think things have gone since the release, and various bits and bobs. So, but that we'll look at another time. So I think finally. That is it, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you very much indeed. So it's been lovely seeing you. Have a good night. Bye. Craig.
So Craig's finished eating his dinner.
Has he?
If he has, he can talk about what he's been vaping on.
To be honest, I could have finished my pudding, done the washing up, had a shower. Yeah, right.
He does go on a bit, doesn't he?
It's getting sorry, it's getting cloudy. Right. First things first. James Sherlock. I got in, I don't know if you can see that, the Corolla by SXK.
I noticed somebody posted one up earlier and they did what I asked you to do the other day, which is take that orange thing off.
Yeah.
And I posted somewhere earlier and they went, yeah, no, it's really nice looking. And I really wanted to go, stick the rubber thing back on. Let's look at it in all its glory. I really don't like that rubber thing, only because it's so thick when you take it off. It's very apparent it should be there. But I get why, because you've got an orange mod and blah blah. That's fine.
Yeah, I mean it's but there's one fucking annoying thing with it. I'll just go into really quickly. Let me just get this kind of somewhere closer to being zoomed. Right, there's the deck. Right now, first of all, yes, it's very nectar-like. Okay, the whole thing is very very nectar-like, but the little fill hole down in the bottom is so narrow that when you try and squeeze juice in it, it just goes all over the deck.
It looks like there's two holes. Is that the fill hole, the little tiny thing?
Yeah, no, the one next to it. There's like the one next to where the wick is.
Is that meant to be an air release next to the that screw?
I think so. Yeah, I'm kind of thinking.
That's probably where the problem is.
Yeah, it's all a little bit. The nectar kind of did. The nectar did it right, really. So. Yeah, it's all right, but would I, one of these would I get a nectar if I use my budget hands? Well, what somebody else says. I'd just get a nectar. Fuck it, just get a nectar and be done with it. Save your money. There's loads of them in France if you're after one. So yeah, that is to get. Next, I've got signature tips actually. Big shout out for that, by the way. Actually, to Vapes, who got mentioned last week, I think, for doing a fix as well. So nice one for that. Vapes are doing these little coiling rods. Signature Tips are doing these little coiling rods, which you just put your coil in. You put them through the coil, so you can hold stuff in place. So you don't need a massive, great big rod. So
they got a little slice down them, because I know that some of them kind of, when they start going thicker, they have a little slit so you can put the wire in there, which traps it when you want to build a coil.
These ones are just the straightforward. There you go, just a point.
Have they not got a square end on them at the other end? Because the coil will push when you push a coil together to make a.
You have made my point very easy there, Rick. Yeah.
Oh, sorry,
that's all right. No, you've gone and pointed out the most obvious thing, which is when you want something to actually press against it, because when you're tightening up a screw when you're going and it's going clockwise, it's to pull that one to the side. If you're doing, it just ends up squeezing the coil up. So yeah, next time make them flat. And the other thing is as well, maybe just a little bit of material over the metal bit on the other end, just to make it look a bit more.
They've gone for the design, haven't they, rather than actually.
Yeah. I mean, but they're all right. So next thing.
Tasteful. Oh, by the way, sorry to interrupt for a sec, but I don't want to interrupt anybody. But you may or may not hear if I take a draw of the magma absent-mindedly.
Go on then. Go on. Let's hear it.
He's only practicing. He's refereeing a five-a-side match on Sunday.
that noise will change as the night goes on. Well, carry on. Anyway, so just in case you hear it's not a hurricane or a tornado outside your window.
That reminds me of a mechanic when you go and ask to get a job done with his sharp intake of breath.
Oh, your flip-flop bells knackered.
Next up, thank you very much to Shadows for sending through the other raffle prize for the Plumes of Hazard. That was because I won 2 things, and I'll come to back to the other one in a minute. But this one's going down to Rick, the packet of Shadows. So,
cheers, buddy.
Rick. That's right. Next, I got a Cloud 1 from Craig. That little thing on there, next to Foo's face, as you'll see there. It's if you like a K-Fun and like a warm K-Fun with just a little bit more air than that, or something like the Vapor Giant. That works perfectly well. It's a really, really nice little tank. So yeah, quite pleased with that. I should really say what's in
I was just asking in chat whether you've got a job with Femesto.
Me? No.
Oh, right. Sorry. Bit of confusion.
Yeah, you know, it's easy to fall into that trap, you know.
Yeah, that can happen.
I mean,
just check it anyway. Carry on.
I mean, you know, it's yeah. There you go. That's my feelings on the whole matter, really. Yeah, so I've got E-Liquid France Relax in there, which is quite nice. The next thing is...
Don't do it, Craig.
And this one's a really, really nice one, and I'm going to zoom in for this one. This is really mighty pretty. We have the bell cap for the Nada, and it's very, very nice.
Oh.
It's really pretty. So I just want to say a big thank you to Chris Munn, to Samuel, and to Michael.
That does look great.
It's brilliant. It's made it actually better because I've got a 35 watt single coil Clapton in there that's kind of really.
I will say whatever he does, it does. Even there's been some atomizers that nothing to do with him, but I know them to be shit. I think as soon as he's put a bell cap on, I go, maybe I do need one, even though I know I don't like it.
Yeah, Christian
it looks pretty.
Yeah, I mean the Hurricane ones I really like, and Angsty's got some vape mail as well, which he'll probably go into on Monday over on the Plymouth.
Tell him to do a single hole restricted airflow one for the Inax V2R, which he did one with 2 holes. Do one with 1 hole.
One. So there's that, and lastly, I am going to post something up. I'm going to figure out a way of being able to give a few of these away actually. Beadalon spool tamers. Yeah. I have 50 of them. So yeah, at some point, because I know everybody hunts them down and they're rarer than rocking horse shit. So yeah, I'll find a way of doing them. Yeah, I mean,
I got the first giveaway for you. Good question. Are you a host of the Ideal Ohm Show? Yes. Right. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to find the name of it. Oh, and also before we hand over back to Rick again to do the next bit, I just want to say hi to Emily Wu if you're there. Hi. So she does great coils down at Vapor Jack. Anyway, Rick, all yours.
Me. All right. Well, most of you already know this, but we had some mods. Well, somebody very kindly said after our Corrosive Creations showcase that Corrosive Creations said we'd do you some boxes, and a fella very kindly put some very nice stuff into them, and we're very happy to have him on. So let's bring in Toby Allen, TA Mods.
Hey,
Toby.
Hello.
Yeah,
Hello.
first, Toby, I'd like to say thanks very much, mate. These are lovely.
Very welcome.
You've got a lot in there.
Yeah, it was a bit of a tough job. Yours especially, but we've been over that already. But the rest of them weren't too bad. But yeah, I mean they're basically the Hexome chip board. Sorry, bloody hell.
Yeah.
No. Yeah, and that's wired with reverse polarity protection. That's capable with the P-channel MOSFET. You've got your mod meter in there, and that's going to display your wattage, your amperage, your voltage output, your battery life, and yeah, there you go, Dean. And it's also got a little perspex screen in there as well, just to protect it. Yeah.
I think it's got everything that you want from a Hexome.
Yeah, exactly.
But better, in my opinion.
Yeah, and they're capable of what they say they are. Yeah, and they're good, and you can actually just display what you want to see all the time. You know, you can always keep your batteries at a reasonable level. If you ever any drunk times and you put your batteries in the wrong way, it's not going to blow up.
We don't get drunk.
Oh, I don't know about that.
Well, it's Dean's turn tonight then.
Yeah, that's it. But it's just there, just in case. So.
But no, yeah. I'm just gonna say you challenged. I think I've never seen you cram this much into a G.
I want to ask, right? I want to ask this. Do you actually do the build? Do you do the build inside the box, or do you kind of do everything? Transplant everything in.
A bit of both. Like obviously with the board itself, there's like quite a lot of preparation that needs to be done. Like there's various other components that need to be fitted onto the actual board itself. There's the potentiometer, which is your little dial that you've got on the bottom of the box. That needs to be wired in, so this wires sort of, it's all kind of wired outside the box, and then I kind of cram it all in one step at a time, making sure that I'm checking diagrams and schematics of the various components so it doesn't go in wrong, because once you've crammed it all in, if you've done something wrong, it's all got to come back out again, which can be a bit of a nightmare. But I mean, I've made quite a few of those now, so the actual wiring itself isn't too much of a big deal. But yeah, it was just Rick. Rick had to be awkward and have his 510 over to one side, which made it a little difficult. Yeah.
I like it, boys. I can't help it. It's just how I roll.
I mean, you get kickbacks and then you get picky about your kickbacks. Rick.
Oh no, he did ask me what.
I did ask, yeah. They're custom mods, so they wouldn't be very custom if I was like adamant that they had to be a certain way. I do my best to tick every box.
The other three know I'm a dipshit with stuff like this, so the way I did mine is, what shall I have in it? And then they still told me, and I went, yeah, that.
Sounds good. Yeah, it produces vapor. No, yeah.
It really works. That's great, Toby. Thank you.
Nah, that's all right. Anytime. You're more than welcome.
No, it's seriously, because I'm really impressed in how you got everything in there, because it really is. I'd imagine that the first time that you had a go at doing it, you gave yourself a few fits when you were trying to do that.
Yeah, I actually still have my first mod somewhere in this house. Basically, it's a long story, but obviously I started on my vape journey, as most people did. It was to stop smoking cigarettes. So I went down the usual avenue of mech mods and all that kind of stuff. And then I remember vividly seeing a DNA 30 Hannah mod in my local vape shop. And I was like, I want it, really wanted it. So I got it. On the second day, there was a fault with the 510 connector. So taking it apart, discovering that it was absolutely ram-filled with hot glue.
Yeah.
And I couldn't do anything with it apart from rip it all out and do it again. So I did that, and then from that day, I kind of just lost faith in mass-produced products. And decided that I would start making my own or buying things and modifying them, and it all kind of led from there, really. That was 2 years ago, and now I pretty much do this full time. So yeah, it's a dream come true, really.
It's funny, really, isn't it? It's kind of where you look at where Hannah are now.
Yeah.
They're producing sort of 50 quid mod.
Yeah, the Hannah one winner.
Yeah. Do you want a mod to use for the weekend? What, you mean every weekend? No, just this weekend. Oh, okay, yeah.
I mean, it just went from there, really. Just went from there. So
the thing that does it for me is essentially this is a G box kind of size mod.
Exactly. It's about 4 mil. It's about 4 mil taller than a G box.
All in all, and there's still a couple of little cubby holes where you've got some space in there, which is ridiculous. And just for a comparison side of things, the first time I did an OKL, I thought, right, I'll have a go and I'll be a bit flash and put a voltmeter in it. And I couldn't cram in just those things.
You got it in there.
Bloody massive wire in there. Look at the size of
it. At least you've twisted it up, though. At least there isn't any paracord.
Well, absolutely, only because I didn't have any, but I have got some mods with paracord in them.
I've got some if you want some.
I bet they hit hard, those ones with paracord.
I tell you,
like, improves connectivity, like, beyond belief. Yeah.
The only problem is he's got no lights in the living room now because he's stripped all the wire out the fucking wall.
But no, I mean, with this, I've been super impressed with how you've got it all in there and how you've laid it out. I mean, things like having your MOSFET kind of up flat up here, if you like. Just having something kind of in that kind of area. Is that the MOSFET? I think it is.
I actually cheated a little bit with those. Cheated a little bit.
Right.
You'll see if you look at the MOSFET, generally on any MOSFET, you'll have 3 legs coming off of it, and that's your ground. You've got your source, your drain, and your gate. But if you look in yours, if you look on the inside, only 2 legs are on it.
Yeah, that's because you're using the top as the grounded.
Drain, yeah, that's right. I've used the actual heat sink itself on the top as the drain itself, so it obviously reduces wiring. Like there's loads of little tricks, like from diagrams and stuff that you can remove from a diagram, so saving your space and whatever else. Like there's common grounds that you can use. Like you don't necessarily have to always use what's labelled on a diagram. You can put it anywhere generally.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's really good. Like really good.
No.
And for those of us that potentially me and John that are maybe a hint on the clumsy side, you've got the reverse battery protection as well, which with the BFET,
which I don't normally do. I don't normally do that. That's one of like the first.
Rick demanded it because he knew.
Yeah, I don't want to refit boards either after you've blown them up. So it works both ways really. So
that would fuck you off no end. That would.
It would. Definitely would.
And we've got an on-off switch in there as well, which I think is nice. It's just
and that's a special one as well. It's a DP-DT switch, so you're actually switching off 2 things when you switch that switch off. You're switching off the mod itself, and you're switching off your mod meter as well, because your mod meter will still pull current from your batteries whether you're using it or not, because it's always monitoring.
This was something that Rick brought up, I think, in the second show we did, which was the fact that I think, was it Dean? Was it your meter that was pulling?
I didn't have a mod meter, but no, I had something else.
Yeah. Do you remember?
A mod that was constantly on with a
PWM mod will do that, and the mod meter would do that as well.
What's that? Sorry, miles away.
PWM and the mod meter will pull current constantly while it's connected.
Yes, that's right. Yes.
No. Switch those puppies off.
Yes.
No, but I mean, I'm seriously impressed, and the great thing is as well, like, I can really ding this around as well, which is quite good.
Yeah, well, that's Matt's department. That is, he does a fantastic job on the boxes. I mean, they always arrive to me in immaculate condition. Obviously, I have to do my absolute best to make sure they don't get damaged.
No, you're all right. You're on air, so you can call him whenever you like.
He's probably watching, so.
But no, I think we can all say that we're extremely happy with them.
Yes.
And they work. And I know that sounds really silly, but I mean, you've produced a whole bunch of mods. How long has it been going? A year or so, year and a bit?
2 years. 2 years.
2 years.
Yeah.
And
about 1,000 mods.
Yeah. Wow. That's pretty impressive.
Rick will know more than me, probably. Everything I ever make is purchased from Rick Grove at modmaker.co.uk. Everything I buy.
Cheers for that.
I wouldn't be here without him, so there's
no, you would be.
There's no vendors that sell the products that he does, the prices that he does, so...
Well, thanks, buddy. That's nice of you to say.
Well, it's the truth, and all modders out there appreciate you. So,
thank you very much.
Has Toby just gone very, very dark on me?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, John kind of left. I think he's doing a Windows update. And yeah, but he went really dark, that did that. But anyway, I think we've come to the end of that bit anyway, haven't we? So.
Yeah, well, I'd just like to say thanks very much, Toby.
No, so you're more than welcome.
He's got a Facebook page if anyone wants to get in touch with him. TA Mods.
Yeah, put a link on the Facebook group. Put a link on
Facebook.
Will.
Yeah, chuck one on there, Toby.
No problem at all.
Thanks very so much, mate. Top man.
You guys take care. Thanks.
Cheers,
buddy. Bye.
I'm so sorry.
What happened?
You made Toby go dark.
I fucked up. I clicked it, and then I don't know how, and I spazzed my finger trying to go, oh fuck, and then I knocked myself out of the hangout. If you're still watching, Toby, yes, I'm so sorry. That was me, I'm fucking spazzed.
Between all, really, I'm just surprised we managed to get a show out there adult, to be honest.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Be back in a minute.
So right, so now Rick's gone. Shall we bring in our other friend?
We can do. I think that's entirely reasonable.
I think I haven't got controls anymore.
I'll do it. I'll sort it out. Ladies and gentlemen, I'd like you to welcome our very special guest this evening. We've been doing a lot of kind of bullshit of the week and all that sort of stuff, and showing how people have been, taking their faces off and doing various other bits and bobs. And so what we've wanted to do is we've wanted to bring a professional on, because we are not. So, ladies and gentlemen, I would like you to all be upstanding and raise your hands and try not to look him directly in the eye because of the celebrity he's at now. I think there are certain formalities that you have to include when you have the one and only Mr. Battery Mooch.
Hey!
You got
That
that.
was too much of a build-up. Now that's awful, Paul.
I'm trying to get this to unmute.
Oh, you're on mute.
Now.
Okay.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, you're good.
Hey, guys.
You're live.
Hey!
Mooch, hey! Whoop, whoop.
How's it going, mate? You all right?
I'm good. Thanks, guys.
Yeah.
Thanks
so
very much for joining us.
yeah, I'm gonna go straight into the questions, and I've got the first one here, which says, "Who is Mooch?"
He's that one,
There you
the
go.
one, not one of us.
Yeah. Who is Mooch?
With another very cool mug, by the way.
Yeah.
This
Give
is
us your history. Give us your history. Tell us who you
classified stuff, the Mooch angle.
are.
Mooch is actually an unfortunate high school nickname that I hated for years, but I've kind of embraced lately. When you have to get kind of online persona going. And I also realized, it's one syllable. We like that in America. It just kind of worked. If friends are calling you, from a block away, that Mooch carries.
So yeah, what do you actually kind of like do for what's your general living? Because it's kind of for a change, it actually bears some relation to what you actually do for the vaping community.
Yeah. Since the early '90s, I've been doing custom electronics work. Let's see if I can actually get these headphones to function. Okay.
You really don't need to hear the other bit. It's fine.
You can just sign me.
Not important.
I had in school, I was at School of Electrical Engineering, computer science and stuff. Did a stint as a commercial photographer, but went back into the electronics and started doing low-volume custom work for a lot of different kind of customers, mostly other photographers. It started catching on. I loved it because that's kind of what I was doing since I was like 10 years old, taking apart anything my parents turned the back on for a minute or two. And
there's so many your mum jokes there. I mean,
yeah.
I'm going to ignore them all because you're a guest. Carry on.
It started growing, and I started finding a niche where I felt most comfortable, and that was what's called power management. And you've got power supplies, batteries, chargers, battery dischargers, things like that. And I found that at least absorbing that knowledge was easier than some other aspects of electrical engineering, and started finding more specialized clients, which I kind of dug. I didn't want to build 1,000 of these, 5,000 of these, talk to China, etc. I want to build 10 and then on to the next client, and some other impossible challenge. And when I started vaping last March or so into April, I had two friends who actually got me into vaping. I was a light smoker, but I hated it. Like, I was desperately looking for some other way out of it, and I'd always dissed the vaping thing. But they said, there's so much bullshit with these batteries. Can you test some things here? And I said, okay, yeah, I've got the rig, set up for clients, and started realizing just how preposterous some of the ratings were. And I already had experience with a couple, it's like the 25 Rs and things like that, because some of my clients use them, of which they consider 5 amps to be a heavy load on a 25R, by the way. They still don't believe me when I tell them essentially the maximum continuous rating on a battery is sort of considered the starting point for a vapor. And then you go up from there. And they wouldn't even consider ever operating these things anywhere near that. So they still don't believe me. And I started getting really, really pissed off that vapors were being just flat out lied to like this. The safety angle isn't as bad as people think, but just being for a battery that costs 2-3 times more, can change at any moment, is a lower grade cell, inconsistent, and exaggerated ratings. I'm like, hey, no. So I started posting a couple of tests here and there, and it's just kind of caught on sense. I have the equipment here. I built a second rig just for the vaping batteries because we're at like, I don't know, 90 of them now, and started testing it, but otherwise most of the gear I already had, so it wasn't much of an extension. And it's just sort of a way to say, hey, thanks, I haven't smoked since the first day I started really vaping. And you know, what can I kind of plow back in to the community, because so many people in the community help me, you know, pick a juice or you know, decide which mod to pick and stuff like that.
Wow.
And we appreciate that. You've done a sterling job with your guides, showing us what batches are good for what. And
thanks, Rick.
I think, yeah, because there aren't many of you out there, really, and I'm sure there are vapors out there that have got the capabilities, but none of them have taken it to this kind of degree. So
I was trying to think of the interpretation of people who don't know Mooch from places like Reddit and or seen him on Plumes, and our English version we'd call you the American Torchy, because we have one guy in the UK who tests batteries and is reported and posted graphs as well. Probably not to the extent you have.
But he's been doing it a lot longer. He has batteries.
Yeah, great guy. And he's a battery supplier. That's what you need to get into, battery supply. That's the else Torchy does that we know.
Never. What a brutal, competitive field. Never. I will never.
I know what you mean.
You have gone into it really deep, haven't you? I mean, to be honest, I don't really think. Do vapors use more than half a dozen different batteries anyway? Really?
I probably use.
Well, it might be on the bases with all your fire batteries, haven't you? Yeah.
I've got 30 a year. I've got at least 30.
No, different types.
Different brands, I mean.
Oh yeah, I mean I've probably only got, you know, VTC 5s, 4s, the old 5s.
You'd be surprised though, because the B&Ms sell everything. Docan, Enooks, you know, things that we may not see a lot, but maybe the only thing that's available in that town, or you know, they stop at a B&M and that's all they carry.
Chinese blue numbers, I think we all see those. You know, the one you get free with the mod in the B&M.
Oh, there we go. Yeah.
A lovely blue battery, and you go, "What's that?" And they go, "A battery."
I mean, I'm at over. I mean, I'm probably going to hit 100 next week when I finish the 18350 testing. And I'm maybe halfway through the batteries vapors can choose from.
Fucking nice. A new one out this week as well, hasn't there? I think you've seen it, and you've got some going to you. The ones from Juicebox that look like they're rewraps from something else.
Oh, the 1500 mile ones.
Yeah.
And which is a little interesting because the specs didn't fit something you'd think would be it's a, you know, battery X kind of thing, immediately identifiable. So it's curious about that one, and it's easy to chuck on.
This is something a lot of people don't realise, isn't it, Mooch? That there aren't actually many places that produce batteries. There's a lot of places that rewrap them.
Yeah, you've got Samsung, Sony, LG, and then Panasonic Sanyo, essentially the same company. They're producing some of the best quality cells we can get, most consistent, blah, blah, blah. You've got a bunch of manufacturers in China, Indonesia, who do any number of different cells, and they're used heavily at the lower end of the market. And a lot of those batteries are now being released by companies from China who are like TC and my brain's just foggy up now, but other companies who are saying, hey, we want to get into this fantastic market.
Well, I mean, try and think of a growing market now in the current sort of economic climate, and vaping is, you know, making hay while the sun shines.
So and the profit margin is extraordinary.
It's shit, yeah. Well, I think we're all aware and have seen what happens. People don't get shit. There's money to be made.
Well, that's the unfortunate part. They can say, hey, we've got a $1 battery. In fact, they can sell all the grade A batteries to their own clients in China, take the B's, C's, D's, throw them all in a big box, get them wrapped, and sell them in America.
So we've kind of got a few bits on it. But yeah, I mean, going on that very point where you've just gone and mentioned like the individual cell grades, that you've got the A, B, C, D. I don't know how far down you actually go with them, but is there any way of users knowing what grades they are, or is it's just all unknown and it only comes out during testing? Then is it?
Well, that's it. That's it. I mean, if you want consistency, if you want to know, Samsung, Sony, LG. If you go to anybody else, well, actually, that's not true. PVA, Pegasus, Vapor Academy, AW. There are some others out there who go through great lengths to have good cells.
AW are probably some of the most faked batteries on the market. I've seen.
They could be. As soon as anything has a good reputation.
Yeah. I mean, I was in a B&M in New York on my honeymoon. My wife's a lucky woman, isn't she? Going to B&M shops on a honeymoon. Love it.
You got to meet Fu, which was a bit risky.
Yeah. I got away with that. Yeah, but we walked into a B&M in somewhere near, it's just in Queens, I think, and a little one, and just racks of fake AWs, because I know the font, and I know the hologram and everything from being an early vapor. Just going, nope, there's no way they're real.
There are a lot of them, and you can get some good results. I mean, you might get, you get a mix. You get companies who might take who knows what battery, and you get incredibly inconsistent performance from one battery to the next. Or you might get another company like maybe eFest that bought up 1 million MJ1s, a 10 amp battery, rewraps them. They were actually, I mean, they labeled them 35 amp, even though they were 10 amp. But
we all know the wrap adds at least 25 amps. That is silly.
And if it's purple, that's another 10.
Yeah.
But it was a consistent battery. On there, and that's how, a lot of people think that I'm totally against like eFest or IMREN or something. I'm not. I'm against the false rating. If a company wants to say, hey, eFest said that battery was 10 amp, 20 amp, 10/20 or something. Yeah. Fine, perfect. I would have rated it pretty highly. It's
the
saturated ratings.
The AW18650 is a 10 amp, aren't they?
They've got 20s.
Oh, okay. I'm kind of going back, probably.
Okay, yeah. I mean, they got the 18350.
Yeah.
8, 10 amp range.
I think we're gonna.
I don't care what battery they use.
Yeah, I think we're going to hit you with, so we've got some structure. I think people are going to read off the questions.
I've just got one just to throw in, just because it was just mentioned, just because I'm like that, a bit jazz. Is there any way, you mentioned about the A, B, C, D and all that sort of stuff. Is there generally a kind of an A meets all levels, like a B is within a certain percentage? Is there a sort of a structure to the way that's rated, or is that relevant company?
Yeah, it can vary from company to company. Actually, Pegasus, PVA, Pegasus Vapor Academy is more knowledgeable about this than I am. But essentially, each company will set a limit on capacity, how much you can vary or how low you can drop, internal resistance, other factors they might go in, maybe a voltage under load or things like that. And each battery has to go through what's called a formation process. The battery is nothing when it's first made. They have to charge it, discharge it a bit, set everything up internally in its structure, and during that, they can test the battery as they're cycling it, and then they release them. What they can do then is grade them. How close do they meet? And now they can pick clients who want the best of the best of the best. If NASA wants batteries, they're going to get good batteries. If going down the line, at a certain grade level, they'll sell under their own name. They'll label Samsungs or something. And then the ones below that, I don't know enough about it, but everything I read just says, no, we're not selling these. We can't use them. We're not selling them as Samsungs, LG, Sonys. We'll auction them off, or we'll sell them off to other people who rewrap them. And they can still be darn decent batteries. Like grade B, we may not even be getting grade A cells. We could be getting Bs. That just may be the only things that's being bought for us. Again,
I mean, a lot of the confusion over here, I'm sure it's everywhere, is that and we've got to touch on it, is the bullshit stories that go out there.
Yeah, we'll come round to them because we've got a shitload of questions on them, right?
All right, okay.
Yeah, we've got to turn on. We've got to. I'm gonna.
Well, that's the first one on the list.
Yeah, it's like my job is kind of like I'm gonna act as a controller and the
gatekeeper.
Yeah, and you like go wherever the hell you like.
I'm sorry, I'll just sit back and drink my beer.
So I mean, right, I'm going to start throwing these questions out, and then they'll kind of go.
I'll give it to Rick. The first question is.
Yeah, go on, man. Yeah, go on then.
Can I go? Is that all right?
Yeah.
Go on now.
I've just got to remember.
I can see he's highlighted on the notes, and he's going, "Yeah, fuck you, dickhead."
I might have been getting to it a bit of the long route, but
yeah, come on,
what
man.
I was going to say was a lot of the bullshit of the week story is all about exploding batteries, and that's what I think a lot of people want to know: is my face going to blow off if I put a dodgy battery in my mod? And I told you the other day that I've been hard shorting the common batteries that the people use over here, certainly, with unspectacular results. And even yesterday, Dean sent me through a hybrid mod, a mech mod, really snug fit. I jammed a EFS battery in there and hard shorted it with an ATI and held the fire button on, and all it did was get warm, and the wrap split slightly, but no bangs at all. So do you think there's any validity in these stories that people say I put a battery in and it exploded in my face?
Actually, I do. It's hard to get a battery to go into thermal runaway. Venting is easier, and that's two separate events. Venting is just that physical release of gas. A lot of people have probably seen that. The thermal runaway is that catastrophic kaboom kind of thing. Inside a mod, with the pressure buildup, you get essentially an explosion. It so much depends on how charged is the battery, which battery it is, and how hard it's shorted. We touched on this a little bit. The difference between a 1 milliohm hard short and a 2 milliohm hard short, one is double the current of the other. And it makes a huge difference just on these tiny, tiny little things, whether it happens or not, which is why it's so hard to give a blanket statement, and really why we have to say, whoa, be careful, because you can't say, no problem, you can, go ahead, try that, try that sub-ohm tank on your hybrid mech and see how it works. We can't say that because we don't know if they have one of the batteries that do it. So a lot of what I do is there's 99% of what reality is, but you have to advise for that 1%, 0.1% that might happen. And some batteries, particularly the batteries that blew up, I mean, I remember, I think at least one of them recently had looked like a purple wrap, so it was an IMRAN or an EFS. I think someone found out it was an EFS. It can all depend what they have that month under the wrap. And did the reason it failed, quality control, was the reason it was a B grade or a C grade battery, was it because of too much leakage current? Namely, it just self-discharges quickly. That could be an indication of a small short inside the battery. If you've got a lot of heat from a short circuit and that hard short gets any worse, then you can get thermal runaway at that point of the short, an internal fault. So there's these little things that might only happen to certain grades of batteries at certain times that make it really hard to just say this is safe or this is not. So we always have to go with just don't do this, just don't do that. But you'll always get a whole bunch of people come back and go, hey, I did that and I have no problems. And it confuses the hell out of people.
I mean, I had no problems with six hard shorting 6 batteries. Apart from the mod got hot, I could touch it like that and it'd be too hot to touch.
Right.
But and it messed, it vented slightly. There was a little bit of leakage and a little bit of corrosion, and it melted the insulator on the ATI. But I've salvaged the mod. I hammered the battery out and it's fine. And there was nothing. And there's no vent. There's tiny little vent holes that would do nothing on this. Spectacular, and I was filming it for half an hour, leaving it just go, please bang, and it just didn't.
Right. Yeah, it's like here I can pretty reliably get a battery into runaway, but I'll strip everything off, get that top exposed, and I have a 1/2-inch copper rod that I lever down against the battery.
Touch positive and negative together. Yeah.
Yeah, immediately. So it's just goes like that. Even then, you can see that spot glowing, and I mean the copper rod's glowing, not just the battery. And that if it's going to go, that's where it will go. But I haven't done enough destructive testing on the vaping batteries. I've done a little bit for clients. I hate it. But most of what clients hire me for are battery management systems that can keep this stuff from happening. You know, microseconds into a short, it goes, well, no, we're done, and it turns off. So short of catastrophic, you know, impact or something to the pack.
So you'd say, you would say that it's quite rare. You must say it's very rare for a battery to get into thermal runaway if it hard shorts. It's rare. It must be reasonably rare. If I've done it with 6 and it hasn't happened.
Yeah, it's fairly rare. But again, you know, if I went, you know, in 10 minutes I could get some batteries to thermal runaway just setting something up. So I think a lot of it has to do just with the battery and what you happen to have, and literally because a milliohm can make a difference between thermal runaway and not, because it could double the current. The way you're hard shorting it, and you know, the way you're doing it is the way most vapors would do it. So yeah, but it happens. We've seen these videos of these batteries going, and that doesn't happen unless you hard short a battery. Maybe a crappy battery.
Yeah.
Maybe an ICR, but it has to be shorted.
That's what I'm leaning towards thinking with my obviously limited testing, but I'm thinking that these exploding mods in the news must be dodgy batteries.
No, I mean there's the other thing though, which is that you know, you're testing 6 batteries, but what you've got is out in the open. We've got millions of these batteries across the face of the earth, and we've also got newspapers who are willing to pay a bit of money for something that may or may not have been a battery vent, aka the guy who managed to shoot himself in the face with a blank. It's kind of like it's such a massive subset that when one of these things does go catastrophic, you know, the percentage, like you say, may be low, but over such a massive data set of probability, you're going to get a lot of these things happening because
everybody, this small percentage there where it goes wrong is making everybody think, oh, I can't put that in there. It's going to blow my face off, and it probably isn't going to blow your face off.
No, it's hard to do that, and there's a couple of the tiniest basic rules we can follow, and you take the odds, you know, from 1 in 10,000 to 1 in a billion that something's going to happen. It's hard to vent a battery. It's really hard to take one to thermal runaway. If it's just basic, I mean, I happen to agree with, you know, just say, hey, no tanks on a hybrid mod. If they want to know what that really means and what tanks you can use, let them get the knowledge to find out what they can do then. But in the meantime, it's just easier to say no, and run with that. But yeah, you can use some tanks, and on it, and it's just we always have to. There's a big difference, I was saying, between reality and what we have to advise.
Yeah.
We've got. It's always best to, I mean, I imagine as well. It's when we're talking about the types of batteries. When you go somewhere like China and the people that are producing it, there is a fuck ton. And we know from a company over in the UK that was insistent they bought spot-on batteries from the Chinese supplier that were all real, and they came over here and they were all fakes.
I think we can name the batteries. Were those the VTC5s?
Yeah,
that's fine to name them. The funny thing was, actually, I think the first sniff of bullshit was because there was no stock of VTC5s from Sony, and that was what was an acknowledged fact, and that's where everybody started getting suspicious. Was the first person, I think it was one of the battery suppliers, came forward and said, if I can't get them, you can't get them. So there's no way you've bought 1,000 or whatever it was.
Yeah, but what my point was, I guess we have to err on the side of caution, because we can have somebody in the States or in the UK or wherever in the world go, right, we are buying absolutely genuine 25Rs or E-Fests or whatever else, but we're still relying on the fella over in foreign shores who, you know, getting hold of his supply of them properly and legally and having the right ones.
That is why people like Torty and Ecolux come into the equation but only, and I agree with this, it's a huge blind spot, because you know this, I know this, and lots of experienced vapors who, let's be honest, are watching this. There might be, we might catch a few people who have got a ego pen But most people who watch the show are experienced vapers, and the majority of them have got experience, and they know this, or they'd ask their friend, where should I get batteries from? And they'll go here and here because they test their batteries, or blah 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 blah. And that's you won't get. It's very difficult to hit the problem because they're not listening because they don't know that this exists. They don't know that there's twats on Facebook.
I mean, all that we can do though is if we do catch that one or two who do.
Oh, exactly. No, I'm not saying. Yeah, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to sound like that. I was just kind of saying that's why when it's a big supply like the one we're talking about, I'll be kind and I won't say it just for liability reasons. But you all know we've got it on chat. But when it's a big supply like that, and they are a huge market force in the UK. And they're buying those batteries, then I love it when it explodes across the internet. You know, these guys have bought these batteries, they've done no research, they're not testing them, they don't know shit, and they're selling them.
Yeah. Nice.
It's a funny old game, isn't it? But you know that is essentially why we have to be safe, isn't it? So we have to make sure that people have got protruding 510s, people that are not stressing them too much. But I'm sure we'll come on that stress point in a bit.
Right. Just be aware of their existence.
Yeah.
So much of it is not just even knowing this stuff is out there, and I see this all the time here in the States. And you don't even have to find the bad ones. Just let everyone know they might exist, so people start asking questions.
Yeah.
And that's a big drive of what I do. You don't have to read the report. Just go, holy crap! Someone said 35, and it's really a 10. Okay, I'm going to ask questions.
Yeah.
And that's it. They've gotten everything they need to get from my reports.
Just a quick one for people in chat that I keep saying over and over again. Mooch isn't going to explode a battery live on the show. I have somebody did ask you to do it. If they want to pay him,
No. I'll tell you what.
Don't blow a battery.
Okay.
I'll tell you what we'll do is we'll ask him if he'll do a video of one going at some point because I'm sure he probably.
Only if he gets one. Well, we did have this discussion off air as well.
No.
Yeah, exactly. I did say to somebody else in chat, and I said if they want to pay him to do that, then that's fine, and that's something they can do.
That costs. Let me tell you, for the first 6 seconds of doing this for clients, you're kind of like, "Whoa, that's cool." And then you open up the fireproof box, ceramic, heavy gauge steel, ceramic cloth lined, and you smell that, and you have to clean that shit up, and it smells like that for a week. And you're just like, no. And you could just be sitting there. I used to just sit there, half a meter away, and you're flipping through a book or something, and all of a sudden, bang! And now it's rattling around inside the box. And the appeal wears off really fast. So, this is
now I'm with them. Now I'm like, yeah, blow shit up. Yeah.
I really wanted to see some stuff burning up at the weekend, but it just didn't. I'm disappointed. Yeah. I'm going to have to get a hammer to some lipos or something just to film it. I even bought some pig skin to burn the battery on, so I thought I'd simulate the leg being burnt. That's a waste of 56p buying that.
We'll send you some pig skin.
I was talking to Rick yesterday on Facebook. Yesterday when you were doing the last one.
Yeah.
And he said, well, the camera's still running and it's doing fuck all. I'm really upset.
I wanted fireworks, man. I'm wasted 6 batteries trying to make them do something they're supposed to do when idiots use them, but it didn't do it.
Yeah, you need the lowest internal resistance so you can get the greatest current flow. And I think, so no 3000s, no 3500s, no Samsung, Sony, LGs, Panasonic, or Samsung.
Go and buy a load of Trust Fire or ones with fire in them. Really low amps that I can put loads through them, I think.
Yeah, good. Anything like the 2100 mod, 2500, the ones that claim high amps, because they'll be low internal resistance. You'll get enough current pumping through those. I think you'll have better luck with those. You can certainly, you can grab some laptop ICRs and, do things.
What about overcharging? I could always try and overcharge one. I could put it on
that's
a
spectacularly good way to do it.
I'm doing that next week.
I just want to say that if there's only 3 people here next week, right? That it's Mooch's fault.
Or we've ironically changed Rick's name at the bottom to Fingers.
9 fingers, Rick.
9 finger Rick.
Rick, if you've got I don't know 24-volt supply at a few amps, just short the battery to put the battery across that.
Yeah. Okay. Thanks for that. I'll try that.
Jesus Christ.
Remember, Rick is a professional dickhead. Don't try this at home.
No, do not try this at home, and you do not hook it up to the battery live. Hook it up to the battery, then go plug it in 20 meters away.
Oh my God!
The camera was only about a foot and a half away from it, so I might have to move that a bit further.
Do you have any perspex or something you could put in between? Just a sheet.
Don't mess about with that stuff over here.
Seriously, if we get quoted in a Daily Mail article, I'm going to be really pissed off.
Oh well, the venting saga continues.
I've got it. Actually, just make yourself a pork skin suit and just be there. You'll be fine.
Anyway, Dino, you've got a question.
Have I, my fuck? What have I got there?
Come on.
Hang on. What,
Yeah, we know about that one. Amps and volts in regulated mods.
Yes, we talked about this the other day because I did a review on the Kanga 200 box where I know it's not producing 200 watts, so I've now treated myself to an oscilloscope. Thank you very much for the advice, Mr. Mooch. Which I'm very excited about, but it's still not going to give me an accurate amp draw potentially. And when I did my video, I said, well, if that's pulling 200 watts, then that's going to be pulling out X amount of amps from the battery, because I was dealing with the figures as in a sort of an unregulated setup. To which a couple of people jumped on me on the YouTube, quite rightly, and said, no, you're wrong. And I went, all right, fair enough, yeah. Looked into it, spoke to people like yourself and a few others, and yes, I was wrong. So I retracted part of my review and apologised to everyone. But can you give us an indication of when it comes to amp draw, when you're looking at, pulling in that sort of 200 watt figure in an unregulated, you're pulling in something like 42 amps, for instance, whereas in a regulated mod, it works differently, doesn't it?
It works differently. I mean, it's all Ohm's law in the end. It's just what voltages you should be looking at when you're starting to do the calculations. The most important thing to remember with regulated is the battery isn't connected to the coil. The battery's connected to the regulator. And so it's what the regulator wants to draw. And so since the battery isn't connected to the coil, you just can't say coil resistance is this, a battery. The big thing with regulated is the lower the battery voltage, the more current that gets pulled from the battery. Essentially, the lower the voltage goes in the battery, the less power there is available for that regulator to do what it has to do. It compensates by pulling more current from the battery to make up for that lack of power. It takes the current and the voltage, does its little voodoo thing, and spits out the power setting you have, 50, 100, 200 watts. So the greatest stress on a battery in a regulated device is when the battery is at its minimum voltage. And each regulator will have it like the rouleaus, 9.0 volts. Or at least, yeah, the DNA 200 is 9.0 volts. Most 150 watt, dual 18650 boxes are 3.2 volts or 6.4 volts, depending if they're parallel or series, respectively. And that's what you would use. You don't use 3.7 or 4.2 per battery. You want to use because that'll be the highest current. And then you just run Ohm's law. Amps equals wattage divided by voltage. Regulated, use the lowest voltage. Unregulated, now your battery is connected to the coil, then it's whatever your voltage of interest is. If you want a little bit of a safety margin, 3.7 volts divided by your coil resistance will give you your starting battery current. If you want a good safety margin, your heavy chain vapor, 10-second pulls every 12 seconds, something like that, now maybe look at 4.2 volts, especially for a newer vapor. With battery sag, you could be way below that. This is just the balance between reality and what we advise. At high amps, you're running at 3.2, 3.4 volts on a battery, and if you want to be accurate, that's what you would use. But then you have to go to like pulse discharge charts that I might do, or do your own tests with a voltmeter on the posts while you're firing to get the actual battery voltage. You know what the resistance is. Now you can calculate the current on there. So they're both the same Ohm's law, but just the voltage you use to get your Ohm's law equation differs between regulated and unregulated.
So just on that, you mentioned something just about the vapor, the heavy vapor who's doing the 10-second pulls every 12 seconds. The fact that the battery takes an amount of time to rebound almost to, is that what you're actually saying then is happening?
Oh, I was referring to the heating involved in terms of for safety. Yeah, the battery is actually very physical kind of thing. It's not a pure, we do everything instantaneous electrical circuit. It takes a while for the voltage to come down, a while for the voltage to recover. After a pulse, it is more stressful on the battery. If you're just pulsing constantly or continuous, the voltage is going to drop a lot faster, where if maybe you can do 100 10-second pulls once a minute, but you'll only be able to do 50 10-second pulls if you do them all close together, because the battery's never really fully recovering and its efficiency goes down. You lose a lot more to heat. So, but most of that was I was referring to was in terms of the heat, and so you might tell someone, yeah, you can use a 25R at 40 amps. You can, but don't tell anybody. But that's not, if you're continuous, that battery is probably not going to vent, but it's preposterously hot. You're going to be 110 Celsius with that damn thing. So if you're a chain vapor, you're going to be operating that battery to a point where it's getting damaged. It's not going to last very long. But technically, yeah, you can vape at 40. So there's such a huge range of gray. With batteries, you just can't say, oh, yeah, that's good, or no, it's not. There's a million things in between. And again, this is another thing that makes it hard to say, yay, nay, this is good, this is safe, this isn't, don't do this, don't do that. And it generates all the confusion, because someone will say, no, you can't use the 25R above 20 amps. And someone will come in and goes, what, are you fucking crazy? I've been using it at 60 amps. Yeah. And they're both right.
It's all right. I wasn't giving the finger to you. I was giving the finger to John, because he was sitting there going like this a minute ago, and I was just all I could see through my head. All I got going through my head was like Chinny Recon.
No, they were doing. They were saying that John's a fucking retard. He looks like he's gone mental, and they were saying, at least nod your head. So I was going, and then they said rub your chin, and then they said pick your nose. So I did that.
So just on the point of then the voltage dropping and recovering, at what voltage will a battery become damaged if it's drained too far? Is there an actual point that you can damage a battery?
Yeah, there's different, again, it's always complicated. Anything below 2.0 volts, you run into different problems that become, you can't recover from. Below 2.0 volts, the copper electrode inside the battery actually starts dissolving. Right. And the lower you go and the longer you go, the more copper that's floating around. And that copper will start plating itself in different parts of the battery. And you may go, awesome, copper, high conductivity, that's great. Except that copper now fills all the holes that the ions are supposed to do their thing in, and you lose capacity in the battery. It also, because it interferes with the flow of ions through the battery, can really cause the battery heat up a lot. It's a really good way to screw up a battery. Right. Between 2.0 volts, or at 2 volts and higher, the lower you go in voltage, the faster the battery ages. Essentially, the deeper the discharge. Like automotive batteries, they might go between 50% and 70% of charge. That's it. That's why a 400-pound battery pack can only get you 100 miles. They're only discharging a little bit, recharged it, and they're never recharging it all the way up. They're never discharging it all the way down. And that's called a shallow discharge and a shallow charge. That's the way to get a battery to last 5,000 cycles. But for a vapor, I no issues down to 3 volts, maybe not even 2.8. Yeah, if you take it to 3.4 volts, it might last a little bit longer. But with all the abuse we give them, I don't think you're going to see the difference.
Just a relative question. Somebody's just put in chat. So chargers that say they can recover 0-volt batteries are false advertising. I think that'd be true.
Well, yes, you can recover them, but now they're damaged batteries.
But they're damaged, exactly. So they're not actually recovering. Yeah. They're not recovering from what you've done to them.
If you have something where accidentally you've brought a battery down to 1.5, you notice it right away and bring it back up, that you haven't had a lot of time for this damage to work its magic inside, or its hellspawn creature of evil magic inside the battery. Now it may be fully recoverable, or it's 99% recovered. But if you find out a week later it's been sitting at 1.5 volts, just throw it away. batteries are dirt cheap for something you would use hours a day for months, in my opinion. And you just get a new battery, especially if you're using it in a series mod, and one battery's been taken really, really low, and maybe the others haven't. It's just a great way to imbalance the batteries right from the start, trying to recover one up. I think recovery charge in a charger is preposterous.
Presumably, I mean, once it gets down to, I mean, you're saying about the 2-volt level. If it got down, because normally I think most of us will stop at around 3.6, 3.7, something like that, 3.5 at a push. But if it got below the 3 level, is it worth having sort of a slow charge rather than just banging it in a 2-amp charger or something?
Not above 2.5 volts. I wouldn't worry about a slow charge. If you've taken it lower than that, most chargers will do that on their own. They have their own threshold for a slow charge. And, you know, if you put one on at 2.2 volts, it'll go, woo, okay. It'll baby it, you know, at some low amps. And you may notice, you know, it's charging really slowly. And I've seen this in a couple of forums. It's saying, hey, it's been on there 7 hours. It's barely moved. It's just going to go slowly till it reaches a certain threshold, changes by charger, then bam. For the battery management systems I do for clients, they're a lot more conservative, so anything below typically 2.8 to 3 will go into a slow charge to bring it up. But they want their batteries to last 4 years and get, you know, a couple thousand cycles on them, so we're very conservative with that. Otherwise, I mean, anyone, for me, I think, you know, if you're stopping at 3.4, 3.6, 3.7, you're losing a lot of battery charge that you can enjoy otherwise. Some mods will turn off at 3.4. But I think you can go a lot lower and not be worried about the trade-off of all that extra capacity, which means, you know, you're not recharging as much, you're not taking the battery in and out as much. All the advantages of not recharging as much come along with maybe this tiny dropping of the battery life, because the battery is rated for what, 250, 300 cycles, all the way to 2.5 volts. So you're not suffering by stopping at 3 or something like that. And also your mods, if they turn off, let's say it turned off at 3 volts, that's the battery voltage under load. That is not the voltage of the battery. That's the battery minus the voltage drop caused by the internal resistance. If you take that battery out, it turns off at 3 or 3.2, that's common, take that battery out, put it aside, 2 hours later, it's going to be at 3.6, 3.7 volts. That's the actual voltage of the battery. You look at what it's taken it to after it's come back up to its resting voltage. And if you see a 3.6, 3.7, it's no problem at all. So you can take it down to 3, take it down to 2.8. You'll see it come back to 3.1, 3.2. If you want maximum life, okay, stop at 3.7 and just recharge. But
so
there's not too much of a difference.
So does the same happen at the other end as well then? Because I think you mentioned on Plumes about going from 4.1 to 4.2 actually does more damage. It does more damage on the opposite end.
Yeah. It's actually a significant difference between 4.1 and 4.2 volt charging. Like for my power supplies here, myself personally, yeah, I charge the 4.1. You might lose 10% of your capacity doing that, 15%, but you can, you know, for some batteries, you know, they last 5 times longer. The more time they spend at a higher voltage, essentially the more the self-degradation, the more aging that occurs. So you don't want to, ideally, this isn't practical, you want to charge your batteries in the morning before you leave and need them. You don't charge them and leave them charged overnight. That's just not very practical for most people. But if you're putting them away for storage, put them away half charged. It doesn't matter, 30%, 50%, doesn't matter. But just don't charge them up, then put them away every single time. And that can make a measurable difference in battery life.
Cool.
So I'll ask the next one on here then.
Yeah, you've got the next one.
Right. There are 2 kind of boards which I think most of our kind of viewers kind of get involved in, which are the DNA 40 and the SX350s. I'm just going to come out and just straight say it. If you were to recommend a battery for either the DNA 40 and the SX350J, what would you be looking at? Something that's going to cover the 40 and cover the 60 that you get from the SX.
Yeah. The J now is what, 60 max, 75 max? You said?
I think is it 60 or 75, Rick?
75.
75.
Okay. For the DNA40, without a doubt, the HG2 or the 30Q, the Samsung 30Q or the LG HG2. That's the highest capacity battery available, over 10 amps. They're pretty durable. In my tests, are two the same. If you're a little uncomfortable with the lower rating Samsung gives to the 30Q versus the HG2, get the HG2. They're both very close in performance.
Is that the brown one?
Yes. Well, it's one of the brown ones. The identical colors for the HB4 also. Whenever people say doo-doo browns, they're two LGs, but HB4s are so rare that if you say, in America, they say doo-doo browns, they call them, then that terrible dark brown.
I like the fact that Americans say...
What were they thinking?
But I like the fact Americans say doo-doo. Like, if they're the UK, we just go shit brown.
We just go, what? Those shit batteries.
That's shit brown. There's no doo-doo.
What did they do that for? They could have done a lovely colour, and they've chosen...
Well, with the OEM batteries, the customer never sees the battery because they're inside a pack, so they figure, we got a discount on brown ink. And they probably started running out of colors. They used up all the really cool colors back in, I don't know, the 80s or something, and now they're out. Yeah. And hey, at least Samsung used a nice pink for the 30Q, so you can always go with that.
You'll be all over them.
Yeah. So for the J chip, if you're not a crazed chain smoker with the J chip, the same batteries, HG2 or 30Q at 75 watts. And even then, if there's an auto fire incident at 75 watts, you're not going to vent an HG2 or 30Q. There's just not enough. What's that? 23 amps or something. You're not going to vent a battery or go into runaway on it. So I would say HG2 or 30Q for anything in that range.
Oh, good stuff.
Nice.
I'm pretty confident that I could make it go into thermal runaway with my soldering skills.
There we go.
So just on that, in terms of if somebody's got an ideal, a lot of people kind of vape at particular wattages. So John tends to be quite low if he's on the next gen. If he's on the next gen, I mean, you kind of what do you do on your next gen? 14 watts?
No, 16.9.
What? You're pushing me.
Wow. There's always a rebel in every group.
Oh, crazy! It's just how I roll, really.
So in terms of if you've got somebody who's like John at 16.9 watts, what kind of batteries would you do for somebody who doesn't need the rest of that mod and they just want something that's kind of just capable for support?
I think if you're under 15 to 20 watts, actually anything over about 15, 20 watts, HG2s or 30Qs, at around 7 amps or so, they start being the best batteries out there. Once you're down to like 5 amps, 3 amps, 15 watts, 10 watts, then the NCR 18650GA, the Panasonic, is the one I'd recommend. But it's a very slim win there.
To be honest, so you're going to get, if you've got the HG2, as you say, if you've just got that in,
it covers everything.
It gives you more, yeah. You're just there, and it gives you that span, doesn't it? You can move up if that's in a mod. We all know they change, and people's tastes change, and you can be in the mood for blowing clouds, or taking a nice sedate vape. And
if there was a 30% difference, 50% double or something, I'd say, well, okay, let's split it off into two wattage ranges. But it's just a very little difference. I did a 10 amp shootout. With all the batteries rated 10 amps or under against HG2s, and as soon as you hit around 5 to 7 amps, the HG2s were better. Those high capacity batteries have a lot of internal resistance, and that just pulls the voltage down at anything more than 3-4 amps or something like that.
So on the other end of the scale, let's say you've got Dean over there.
I'm prepared for this.
The Cloudmeister.
I'm prepared. Hang on.
Yeah, there we go.
Oh my God.
Some of that going on. So, brother, got my limitless fucking clouds!
Is that Grim Dean? Grim Dean, isn't it?
10 feet. Oh, yeah, I've got Claptons. I'm rocking it. I'm 0.15. I'm fucking animal. Now, what do I use? I've got a Samsung 25R. I've got a Samsung green one. I've got a purple E-Fest. And I've got a rechargeable AAA.
My recommendation actually would be the AAA, because you're not going to get in trouble with that when the voltage is so low.
But no, with regards to there you go. Look, that makes me look cooler. With regards to cloud chasing, I want power, motherfucker. I got a hard hitting mod.
Yeah, what's the one that goes poof? You can have as much as you can get in your face.
Which am I less likely to go?
Yeah, there's going to be two answers for that, of course, because batteries are never fucking simple. You've got highest voltage under load. That could be one thing that they're going to want. You know, if you're only going to take one pull at a comp, that's going to be your primary thing. It's pretty close, but I'm still doing pulse testing, so it's going to be it's another month or so before I know. But you know, at 125 watt discharge, the difference between the Samsung, Sony, and LGs is 5 watts in terms of voltage under load. It's not a lot. I know some people say this hits like a freight train and this sucks. I'm just not seeing the freight trains in testing. But I still have to test a lot more cells.
You know why that is? You haven't got gold-plated contacts with a tiny little micromillimeter of gold. That'll do.
Ah, there we go. Yeah, that 10,000th of an inch flash gold.
I love it when people tell me, yeah, fucking, this hits like a freight train. It's the gold plate. Is it?
But the other part of that is, you know, the classics. I would recommend. The BTC4, 25R, HE4s, they're all close. I would tell people, do your experiments. You know, the ones you feel are best, do that now. Until I can do a pulse battery shootout, you know, probably in March or so, I just don't have a good answer for that. But the safest battery to use, it's still got a great voltage under load, any of the LGHBs, 2, 4, or 6.
Wow.
And, you know, 40 amps continuous, they're not going to vent. Continuous, they're not going to vent.
Jesus.
Now, I'm not saying, folks, that means you know, to discharge them like that. But if you're pulsing with 60, 70, 80 amps, they're going to laugh at you. Now, the voltage under load at that, it's going to be preposterous and unusable at those kind of levels. I haven't found anything yet that gives us decent voltage under load above 70. Which is a lot of power for a single 18650. Most of them tap out at 50 to 60 pulse, 5-second pulse. But you know, HBs for max safety with good performance, and maybe you can tweak a couple watts here or there. HE4s, 25Rs, VTCs, 20Rs I haven't tested. I hear good things about it, but I haven't tested it.
Yeah,
it's actually sitting on the bench right now. Just hadn't had a chance.
So it's kind of the ones that we're aware of now already. So, you know, when everyone's saying about, I mean, I love my 25Rs. I think they're brilliant, and I think I love my doo-doo brains in things like the Titan and some of the regulated mods, because it just seems like I'm getting more life from them. But when it comes to mech tubes and what have you, 25Rs all the way, and they seem to work pretty well.
Oh, I should mention the Aspire 1800. That had some spectacularly good performance. But I haven't tested it against the others. I don't know. If someone wants to play, I'd say put that one on your list. Not the 25s, the 1800s. And it is an ICR chemistry. It has passed international safety standards. It will vent if you abuse it, but it did not go runaway with a .07 short circuit, which is what the rest of the planet calls a short circuit, by the way, folks. It's 0.07 ohms is a short circuit for international safety standard testing. So if you put a 0.05 on it, just realize, you know, anyone telling you it passed the standards, well, yeah, that's great, but not at 05, 03 or anything like that. So maybe it could go into runaway for you, but it seems to be, in terms of an ICR, a pretty safe battery.
Yeah. Right. Okay. So I'm going to skip through. I'm going to pick and choose these really, really quickly.
I think we're going to go quick fire round.
Yeah. Okay, I'll squish my answers down.
Right. Okay. Do 26.650s provide any benefit over 18?
No.
Cool. That was a nice one.
No, but they do capacity-wise.
They do capacity. Yeah, Rick, thank you for reminding me. Yeah, the best 26.650 equals, in terms of performance, in terms of voltages and stuff like that, how much power you can draw, equals an average 20 amp 18650, and they get a lot worse from there. But if you go with the 4200s, you can get more capacity. The 5200s, don't even think about those above 30 watts. And below that, you can get some great capacity.
Right. Just quickly, name that 26650. What's the best 26650?
I had almost a 3 or 4 way tie. The Brillies, Brill Powers, the Basins, the EFS Green 42, yeah, and then that fourth one,
nice.
that one. But I have a post on the Mooch page and my test results at ECF. I did a separate stout recommendation for them, but those were 3 of the 4. I don't remember what the 4th one was.
Next question then is: did you ever get the whole E-Fest thing resolved in the end? What actually ended up happening in the end? Because you kind of ended up with them giving you rather a bit of unnecessary grief, really, didn't you?
Well, yeah, they tried smearing the results and stuff like that, and the one rep, I shouldn't say EFS corporate did anything, but the one rep essentially insinuated I lied in my testing and stuff like that. It's a background simmering ongoing thing. They've said nothing since. They didn't send me the 40 amp batteries they said they were going to. I look, thank goodness someone else donated a pair, and I was like, yeah, 20 amp batteries again. Wow, surprise. But I have gotten a couple reports of them saying to vendors that no, that was all just bullshit. Our batteries are great. People, like they always say, people love our batteries. And that has nothing to do with the rating on your battery. It's good.
Cocaine. It's not good for you. They love it. It's more.
Yeah. It's people loving your batteries matters more than any rating.
It's bad for business if they didn't lie, though, isn't it? Across the industry, they're all lying about their ratings. Yeah. And
well, you know what?
Everyone's got to do it because there's fools that buy batteries from what's printed on the sleeve.
Well, also, they don't. You know what? I'm not sure they realize they're lying. The more I see, the more I realize they don't understand. And Craig, I'm going to try to be short. They just have no idea. They just don't understand. For them, a rating is something. For them, a rating is a capability. If it's capable of 30 amps for 60 seconds, 90 seconds, that's its rating, of course. And they rate it that. And it's not. A rating is something completely different.
What you're saying is battery suppliers are a lot like psychics. They're either liars or they're mentally unstable.
Yeah, but they don't. I don't think they're lying. They so firmly believe in their
so they're
ratings.
Mentally unstable. Fine.
Yeah. let's just call it battery ignorant.
Okay, Craig.
Well, what we got? What we got next? Go on, ask it, John.
What are we gonna do? Chargers. What's good? What's not?
I have no fucking idea. I use power supplies.
Excellent.
That's an easy one then, isn't it? Yeah, what have you got planned next? I mean, you've got so many different things that are on the go. You've got 18350s, you've got lipos, you've got chargers, as you were saying, that you wanted to try out and check.
Yeah, I've got 18350s. I'm trying to write up those 14 reports. Then it's catching up on a couple of high capacity 18650s that have been coming out. I'd love to start chargers in March, but I'm going to have to get funding for that because 3 of every charger. Fuck, that's going to get expensive. Lipo's probably not. The demand for lipo testing is completely disappeared.
I think we can say this. You're more than welcome to also, when you're doing one of your, the next time you're doing one of these things where, because Mooch basically saves our fingers. So you're more than welcome to post on our page.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, post them all on there, Mooch. That'd be good to get them all on there. Maybe put it in the files.
I meant asking. So give us your money because we're quite happy to.
Yeah, I mean, if you actually need, if you need any help and you just need some viewership to get.
When you do a Kickstarter or something, just jump on. You're fine.
Yeah, a GoFundMe. I'll do. That's what I did last time, and I just asked for 6 months worth of funding, and whoosh, and then I'm off and running. Because if people give me a lot more money than that, I'll just head down to the track and blow it all.
Spend it on whiskey.
Well, that's what you drink at the track, yes.
Oh, okay.
That did not look like you were drinking at the track. That looked like something else. Go to the track.
No, I think that's about it, really, isn't it? I don't think there's much else I can think of. What have you got? Anything?
We've got other stuff to go over, but with regards to questions for Mr. Mooch, I think that covers most of it. I mean, do we want to ask if anything happened as a result of those stupid slanderous emails, or was that covered in the
which ones are?
The ones where they said, "Oh yeah, well we put the rating on it because everybody else does, and we want to sell." Oh God.
Well, yeah, it's funny point. It's the more vaping batteries I test, and all this stuff is such a different concept for me, coming out of a couple of decades of Samsung, Sony, LG, where you dealt with one grade of battery. They all perform perfectly, and blah blah blah. To find out, I'm starting to realize now more ratings are, I call marketing driven as opposed to performance driven, and to actually, and I've always joked about companies, in an evil race with each other. One marketing firm labels probably the exact same cell, 35 amps. The next company goes, "Oh, we just got a big batch. We can't call it 35. We have to call it 40." And then the next company will say 45. And I've always joked about that, but to have that one company come out and say, "Yeah, well, the other companies pressured us into giving it a rating that high,"
I love that.
Was just...
Why did you eat the dog poo? He ate the dog poo and he said I had to eat the dog poo.
Yeah, Bobby said I should. It's amazing. There's a huge disconnect. You've got these monster companies. They may have a battery technician. They have no battery engineers. And the testing they do is that, like that eFest video they posted, they discharged it for 30 seconds or something and said, "You see, it's a 30 amp battery." And I'm like, no. It's frustrating to battle against that, because someone can always say, "Look, I discharged my eFest at 40, 50 amps and they're fine," which they can be, but that's not the rating, and there's a big distinction there.
I think it was the analogy that you used about driving the car off the cliff 5 times and surviving. You're not necessarily going to.
Oh yeah, yeah. I short-circuited my battery 6 times. It must have a 100 amp rating. I'm like, no.
We've got a new last question, because otherwise people in chat are going to find us and kill us. Marrying batteries.
Oh, fuck
good
me.
question.
I thought we were going to get through without that. Okay. Guess what? 2 answers. No, you don't have to, but yes, you should.
That's okay.
Perfect.
That's good
That's
enough.
Perfect.
Perfect answer.
There are some...
Not being stingy and buy 2 batteries the same at the same time.
Yeah, that's it. Broad matching, that's good. There are specific not rare, but uncommon circumstances where marrying can be much more important. If you're charging a series mod, batteries in the mod all the time, marrying is critical. But the batteries show up from the factory different. They're going to discharge differently. You cannot match internal resistance increases and all this kind of stuff. Each battery is going to sit there doing whatever the fuck it wants, because it has no idea what's outside of its terminals, no matter what.
How many times in vaping do you have to? The amount of times I've had to tell somebody that the thing that you're talking about doesn't know what it is or where it is. You know, when they say, "Oh, the air's going to do this."
Air knows it's got to go around in a circle before it comes out.
Right.
Air.
So I always advise, just marry the batteries.
That's fine.
Don't get an eNook 1500 with a 5-year-old eFest 3000. Between just you guys and me, I don't think anything's going to happen. With a regulated mod, one battery goes down to 0 volts, the mod's going to turn off. If you're with a mech, you're going to go, "What the fuck?" and you're going to stop. You're not in trouble until the battery goes below 0 volts. Essentially, then you're charging it in reverse. And Rick, that's a great way to do it. When you get that 24-volt power supply at 10 amps, put it reverse polarity. That's a fabulous way to get runaway.
I'm going to make some bangs. I'm going to do my best to get some.
Okay. So we don't have
big ass lipos, though. I think I'm going to do some lipo tests for sure.
Okay.
One of the things I think people tend to find is, when you go into a shop and you buy 2 batteries, you'll get a big box and there'll be 2 smaller boxes inside with a battery in each. And people think that those 2 batteries must be together. That's a thing. Well, that's clearly not the case, because that's just, some person in a factory's going, "Oh, they'll do. They can wang them in there."
Eddie too, and that could be from 2 batches a year apart. It could be a box they found in back, and they pulled out. But luckily, I mean, we use batteries over a narrow range, down to 2.83, 3.5 volts. So we've got all that headway before we reach 0 volts and the battery's in trouble. And that 3 volt there is a huge amount for a battery to go all the way down to 0. The battery won't explode at 2.5, 1.5, 0.5. It can get hotter than it normally would higher up. The internal resistance goes up as the voltage drops below about 2.5. But you're not in deep trouble till one of them hits negative. And that's kind of hard to do. But marry your batteries. Mooch says marry your batteries.
Cool. Right, I think that's about all the questions. Sorry, Rick, did you have another one there, matey?
No, we don't.
No,
that's about all the questions we've got for you right now, Mooch. I don't know if you want to hold on for a minute. It's entirely up to you whether you
stay where you is.
I'll stick around.
Hang on for a minute, but and I want to know a little bit about that fantastic mug.
The salamander mug.
That's cool.
Oh, yeah.
That is a good mug.
That's better than a pickle jar, that is.
It's even better when you don't have bourbon in here and it's just coffee.
Right, Rick, do you want to go on to your mod showcase, my friend?
Yeah, finally, yeah. We get on to mod showcase, and it's the fellow who's so kindly sent us these mugs. Lovely T-shirts.
I haven't got my T-shirt, but I've got my mug.
I might send mine over to you, Mooch, because I think you did a great job tonight, mate. So.
Oh, thanks, dude. Those are cool mugs.
Yeah, that's Mike Dacus. Thank you very much, Mike. And yeah, I just wanted to show a couple of his mods. He doesn't sell them, so don't pester him. Because I asked him, I said, you know, these are lovely. You sure you don't sell them? And he was like, no, I just do them for friends. I do them for myself, and I give the odd one away. But I hate it when I do. So he does it for the love of it. And I'll show you the first. Let's flip through some photos.
On Facebook now, so I mean.
Is that sharing? That's sharing.
Yeah, there we go.
I just thought I'd just show a few of his photos because he's doing some lovely work, and he obviously does it for the love of it.
Is that a 26650?
Yeah, I don't know. I think it looks like an 18650.
It is a smaller cap. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah. It's a big box, but yeah, he's got some pictures he sent me. I think he's got a DNA and an ST.
Wow.
Yeah, that's nice. That one, isn't it?
Is that what is the? Do we know what it is? Is that an acrylic thing, or is that a stab wood and acrylic? What's going on there?
Oh, it must be stab wood, I'd say.
No, it looks like a hybrid, doesn't it? It looks like it's just, you know, it's the resin.
Someone present Rick.
I am. I'm doing it. It's on. Everyone can see.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
No, I don't know. I'm not sure. If Mike's in chat, tell us what that one is. But that's an SX350J, I'd say, because of the button layout. So, you know, it's different to the DNA. Another one there.
Oh,
that's another one.
Pretty, isn't it?
Is that kind of like pearlescent where the gray is, or the silver?
Yeah, it's kind of like resin as it goes in, kind of, but it bends into strange shapes as it forms. So it kind of.
I already have it on. Yeah, we need that presented.
Mm.
No, yes, okay. Sorry, no.
Viewers are seeing it presented, but
viewers are seeing
it. Oh, okay.
We're just.
There you go. We've gone.
There we go. We presenting now. Oh, okay.
You already were, Rick, but it was just us and we were being confused. I'm glad that Mooch was as confused as me.
What I really like about that sort of style stuff, like the one that was just on, was the fact that kind of that swirly stuff. I've seen that on the Element mods as well, and I think it looks gorgeous because to me it looks like sort of all spacey and, you know, like a strange cosmos fucking.
You mean like this, Dean, when you get it in the light and it bent? I don't know if you'll see it on that actually.
Is that acrylic on yours?
Yeah, that's all acrylic as well. Yeah, but
Del Boy's saying that's acrylic.
Yeah, that's acrylic with wood in it, and so it'll be like they call it a hybrid.
Well, isn't that what stab wood is, or the stuff with colours around it?
Yeah, it's basically that, just with more resin. Yeah.
That next one was interesting though, Rick. Wang that up.
It is, isn't it? Look. Oh, it's actually, look, you can see through it. I've never noticed that before. You can actually see through the acrylic.
Oh, that's the battery there.
Yeah.
LiPo.
Obviously got a 2 or 3S LiPo in there with a DNA 200 going on.
I remember when Carlos did something like that, didn't he? With a sort of stab woody thing on a 0 once, I think.
I think it's just amazing quality for just somebody who does mods for themselves. If you ever want. Oh, there we go. There's the back.
Okay. Wow, that's a nice.
That's pretty. That is. Done a good job. I love what it's done with the chip housing and everything at the front, or the board housing.
You will all learn. You will.
Yeah, we're getting there. We're getting there.
We're correcting ourselves. That's the first step.
Yeah, there we go.
Yeah, that is. Yeah.
The first step is knowing you've got a problem.
But
Right.
before I saw these ones, I hadn't seen these mods before, this DNA and SX350J, because the one that, you know, he got attention was this one.
Ah.
And this is it's a PWM mod that he's got and done.
Don't
And
many stabwood and acrylic PWMs, do you? Or?
don't do you? No, they usually reserve them for the DNAs and SX350Js and the VW boards, don't they? But he's done one here, and he's actually done two by the looks, unless it's the same one. I'm not sure, but this looks different to me.
Yeah.
Unless it's the other side. It may be the other side of it,
Yeah,
actually.
I think it's the other side, yeah.
Wow.
But look at that. It's lovely, isn't it?
Pretty good,
Yeah,
isn't
it's different, which I like.
it? Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I think. And he's actually done some real modding there, and that's the one I want to show you. He's actually got that pin attached to the pot, so that's the adjuster. So you just twist that to adjust the
Okay, I like that.
cycle on it.
Nice.
I like seeing people do something a bit different. It makes me happy.
Yeah. Instead of that fingernail.
And that's
Instead
it,
of a
really.
fingernail.
I just wanted to show those because I think he's doing some lovely work, and it just so happened he makes T-shirts and merchandise, and he's made us this gear as well. So thank you ever so much, Mike, and keep modding, because that's some very nice work there.
And the mugs are fucking wicked.
They are, aren't they?
They're great.
They are. I'm enjoying mine with a nice beer in it now. I'm not even drinking out of the bottle today.
Right, we're nearly at 2 hours. Yeah, and
Yeah, I mean, the only things that I wanted to go through was the toast is still going well throughout the evening, so I'm not sick to death of that. So I would give Craggy Juice a little look. The Grumpy Vapor Custard is still working out extremely well for me.
can you just one thing, can you taste the Brasso in your whatever you were cleaning?
In that one, I was going to keep that quiet. Look, shush.
Yeah.
I was just gonna give a quick nod to my friend who gave me the VF flask at vapingsafe.co.uk.
What do you think of the flask, by the way? I mean, because you've got a proper flask, haven't you?
I've got a real one and the thingy one. I still prefer the other one, but there's only for a few reasons, which is brushed stainless is just what I like. I like things to be quite sort of yeah.
I love the stout in the brush.
I just like the brushed stainless. For me, that's the look. So I wouldn't have gone with black, but you know, I got it for nothing, so I'm not going to say anything. And the only other thing is that the voltage, the board on my one, it's reading slightly high on the resistance, but weirdly it doesn't read high on low resistances. But once you get to about an ohm, it starts being slightly off by about 0.5. But I mean, you've only got to adjust it accordingly. But it's I like it, and I like it even more since I put the Poe sticker on
it. Gone up in value now, you know. You realise.
I haven't told him I've done that. By the way, Simon, you know you lent me this. I stuck that on it.
That's just adding 50 quid to the value.
Yeah, people love it. Tell it.
The one thing that I've found about this is the door batteries. Well, I mean, I haven't got the original or proper one to kind of relate it to. But the door just doesn't. I thought it would sit super flush, so you didn't feel it.
The proper one doesn't have them.
No, I know. No.
Yeah. By the way, anybody looking at this and going, he's got a clone because they don't match up. No, I dropped it at my wife's granddad's funeral, and that one doesn't work anymore. Well, it's got character. That's what it's got. Mine, but the battery door thing is not a thing because mine doesn't do that. It doesn't move at all.
Is it? You can feel it though, can't you? On the sides.
Yeah, not ever so.
Really?
Not to an extreme. No, you can feel it, but not to an extreme. And it's slightly.
You've got shit kickbacks. That's what it is.
It's not got. The only thing is the back of the Wismec is not as broad as the back of the Vapor Flask, so I couldn't put the Poe sticker on that side because it wouldn't fit. So
what's the deal there? I'm getting a bit confused here. Vapor Flask bought out their DNA and their SX ones. What is the deal with Wismec and Vape Forward and these?
They're just making their own path now. That's it.
Yeah.
And they're doing like the reloads have done as well, with giving an affordable option in the range. So
Yeah.
you can have your affordable flask, which is this, so you get the joys of the form of it.
Yeah.
But you can also, you know, with a pretty decent board in. I'm a big fan of this Wismec board that's in the RX, for instance.
See, we don't work for Svames though. We work for Wismec.
I think K funds are shit. There you go.
I have no opinion on the matter because I've never fucking used one.
Same here.
There you
Never
go.
used one.
Yeah, that's
Anyway, moving on. And
But have they got Vapor Flask approval to do it then? Or
yeah,
is
yeah,
it-
yeah.
they're
It's a partnership.
Vapor Flask have changed to Vape Forward.
Yeah,
And
Okay.
so
it's a deal basically. Right? They're doing that.
it's an arm of their business, just allowing a lot more of it to be affordable.
Yeah.
If you want that form factor, and things like there isn't a posh stout and there isn't a posh light, is there? So you know the only thing that there is a similarity to is the classic, the flask.
The dual 18651.
Yeah, yeah. But
Okay.
but no, they're interesting. I've only been playing with mine for a couple of days, and yeah, I've not formed a conclusion yet. So it's going to be interesting things to fanny around with the board and see if my favourite stainless will work on them.
We're gonna hit 2 hours.
Okay, okay. Well, we'll wrap it up and then we won't. 3 minutes and we can do it.
Yeah.
Right. So thank you very much to Mooch. It's been
very, very much.
pleasure having you on, sir.
Thank you, Mooch.
Hey,
I'll
thanks,
show
guys.
you how the battery explosions go.
Please. Yes. Good luck with that. I think.
And also, thank you very much to Toby Allen for coming on earlier on and letting us know a little bit about how he approaches his.
Good man, Toby. Good work, mate.
Thanks,
Yeah,
Toby.
absolutely. We will be doing, we'll put some links down for both Toby and Mooch's work in our Facebook group. So if you haven't got onto Facebook yet, go across and see us on there, because our pages, it's a nice place to be in the Facebook world. And yeah, so go and check that out. And you can obviously contact any of us via the Facebook page if you so wish to, for all the free shit. I mean, to ask questions. Yeah, anyone got anything else to say?
No, apart from goodbye and thank you very much for
night.
watching.
Yeah,
Thank you,
thank you very
everybody.
much,
See you
everyone.
later.
Thank
Fucking
you.
on here!
He's coming.
Yay!
Don't go yet. Hanks is coming. He wants to say something.
Get up to
No,
wave. Just come on to wave.
We're still
Good
alive.
night, everybody.
Later, guys.
Bye.